Early voting season is right around the corner, and county clerks want you to know before you vote. Find out what they're doing to get you prepared. And Mother Nature has been keeping YDOT busy. Find out what they're doing to keep you safe on the roads. And should he stay or should he go? Congress weighs in on Biden. Find out what the president has to say about it. All of this and more coming up. Hello and thank you for watching Wyoming News Now. I'm Valeria Fugate. The Albany County Sheriff says they have now cleared and reopened the Mirror Lake Day Use area after an investigation found a body Thursday night in Albany County. Law enforcement had closed and asked folks to avoid the area. The deceased person remained unidentified at this time. The investigation into the death is ongoing, with more information being released next week. The sheriff's office says there is no current threat to the public. And the Cheyenne Police Department is getting ready to host a community event this week. CPD will be holding its 15th annual Neighborhood Night Out on Thursday, July 11th. This block party is designed to bring neighbors, businesses, and police together in partnership against crime. Some locations for the event include the Blue World headquarters, the Boys and Girls Club of Cheyenne, and Camilla Inc. in MLK Park. For more information, you can head to our website. Let's toss it over to Ashley for our weather.
Here coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Ashley. As folks close out their 4th of July weekend celebrations, law enforcement remains busy across the state as departments are continuing to be on the look for impaired drivers. As many folks will be spending the long weekend celebrating with friends, kicking it back at a barbecue, or cracking open a few cold ones, law enforcement wants to remind folks that having a blood alcohol of 0.8 or higher can land you a DUI charge, and the conviction carries a maximum penalty of 6 months in jail and or $750 fine for a first offense. Those convicted of driving under the influence risk having their driving privileges revoked or injuring others on the road. The Governor's Council says that over 50 people die from alcohol-related crashes every year in Wyoming, and those convicted have almost double the legal amount of blood alcohol in their systems. As Casper gears up for the Central Wyoming Fair and Rodeo, the Casper Area Transit Assist and Link announced their regular operations will be temporarily altered for Tuesday during the parade. Beach Street will be blocked during the parade from 8 to 12:30 p.m. Link buses won't return to the transportation until the parade is over and streets reopened. For more information on transit schedule changes, please visit our website. And while all eyes were on the big mudslide in Teton County, it wasn't the only natural hazard or disaster that YDOT has been addressing this last month. Doug McGee explains in this week's YDOT report.
The work to restore service to YO22 over Teton Pass wasn't the only emergency contract let by YDOT last month. Mudslide mitigation work was also performed less than 3 miles away on the same highway. On June 7th, just east of the Idaho state line, the highway was blocked by a mudslide. Thousands of cubic yards of mud, rocks, and debris washed down from the mountain above, covering the road 3 to 4 feet deep in some places.
There's rain, the weather is warm, there's snow melt, and then something gives. And they're saying that this was an event that is a 25, maybe 50-year event.
Once the road was cleared, the focus turned to mitigation. An emergency contract was let to Avail Valley Construction to install a 7-foot box culvert at the site.
The hope is to capture any future mud flow so that it does not go over the top of the road. It keeps it in the ditch, it keeps it in the box, and then our maintenance forces can clean it up.
YDOT and the contractor took advantage of the highway closure due to the big fill slide to speed up installation. By the time the highway reopened, the culvert was in place and the road repaved. Mitigation is now complete, but more cleanup work will be needed this summer.
So there's 2 additional contracts that will be let. The debris that's in the ditch will be cleaned out, and then there'll be another contract let to repair the scale.
Reminding you to slow down in work zones and always buckle up. This is Doug McGee reporting.
Thanks, Doug. This week, the Wyoming Game and Fish Department is preparing a new office space thanks to Governor Mark Gordon, who has appointed a new director. The Game and Fish Department's newest director, Angie Bruce, has made history by becoming the first female director in the agency's 51-year history. Bruce will be replacing the current director, Brian Nesvik, who will be retiring in September. Since 2019, she has served as the deputy director, overseeing fish and wildlife issues as well as federal planning for the department. Bruce was one of 3 finalists up for the position that the Wyoming Game and Fish Commission forwarded to Gordon for consideration. And county clerks and volunteers are gearing up for the upcoming election season. The early and absentee voting season starts on Tuesday, July 23rd. There are 3 different ballots for this primary election: Democrat, Republican, and nonpartisan. You will receive a party-specific ballot based on your voter registration selection. Primary election sample ballots are now available online, as well as in the Laramie County Clerk's office. If you're wondering what a ballot sample looks like,
the sample ballots are the best way to be ballot ready, because it lets the voter know what they will see when they go to vote, or if they're getting an absentee ballot, they know ahead of time what the ballot will look like. They can make an informed decision.
county officials want to remind folks to read up on your local candidates before you go in to vote, and to bring in your driver license or other government-issued ID to get registered and to vote. All right, up next, we've got more weather and sports. And will he stay or will he go? Democratic Congress members weigh in on if Biden is fit to run. Come on back. Welcome back. People along the Texas Gulf Coast are preparing for the arrival of Storm Beryl. Residents are boarding up and stocking up as the storm takes aim at the Lone Star State. Beryl is currently strengthened into a hurricane as it heads towards land. Voluntary evacuation orders are already underway, and several counties are under tropical storm warnings. The National Hurricane Center predicted Beryl will strengthen to a Category 1 hurricane, making it the first storm of the 2024 Atlantic hurricane season to make landfall in the U.S. The city of Houston is also already pounded with heavy rains on Friday, leaving some streets underwater, making it hard on drivers. And the lake fire continues to burn in Santa Barbara County, California. A Santa Barbara County Fire Department official posted this stunning video of the fire burning in Los Padres National Forest near Zaca Lake and Foxen Canyon. Thousands of acres have burned Friday night, with one resident describing it looking like a volcano. 3 helicopters and 10 air tankers have been assigned to battle the lake fire. And President Biden is hitting the campaign trail today in battleground Pennsylvania, even as leading Democrats meet to discuss his candidacy. New campaign pushes come 10 days after a debate performance that set alarm bells off in the party. NBC's Ali Rafa is traveling with the president and has more.
This morning, President Biden is fighting for his political future, set to campaign in battleground Pennsylvania later today, despite mounting pressure on him to drop out of the 2024 race. This weekend, a 5th Democratic lawmaker calling for him to step aside after his dismal debate performance last Thursday, while more privately admit they're considering doing the same. The president vowing nothing short of the divine would make him drop out.
If the Lord Almighty came down and said, Joe, get out of the race, I get out of the race. The Lord Almighty's not coming down.
His exclusive interview with ABC News on Friday.
It was a bad episode. No indication of any serious condition.
An attempt to restore lost confidence among voters after a stumbling debate performance.
Eligible for what I've been able to do with the with the COVID.
But doubts about his ability to stay in the race are only growing. House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries will meet virtually today with top Democrats to weigh their options before returning to Washington Monday for the first time since that debate.
4 years ago, you saw a different Joe Biden.
And the urgency isn't limited to the House. High-ranking Senator Mark Warner will huddle with fellow Senate Democrats Monday to decide if Biden has what it takes to beat Trump a second time, as his candidacy endangers some lawmakers' political futures.
And if Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries and Nancy Pelosi come down and say, we're worried that if you stay in the race, we're going to lose the House and the Senate, how will you respond?
They all said I should stay in the race. Stay in the race. None of the people said I should leave.
But if they do?
Well, it's like, we're not going to do that.
Next weekend, Biden will attend the NATO summit in Washington, where he will also hold a press conference. The Biden team is hoping a smooth performance then will help right the ship. One of the world's largest airlines is expected to break a record today. Dallas-based American Airlines says it expects to fly 775,000 customers. That's the most passengers for the airline in any single day in its history. Additional flights were added to Charlotte and the Phoenix hubs to accommodate extra travelers. In total, American says 6,500 flights will either take off or land on Sunday. The airline is also responding to potential delays because of Hurricane Beryl. American said it would offer waivers or change fees and from some Texas airports impacted by the storm. All right, let's toss it over to Ashley for our final weather.
And let's take one last look at our forecast for Cheyenne. We're in for some pretty dry weather over the next week or so, with temperatures on the rise. We'll be into the 80s.